Hi everyone, Tiernan here from Key Catalyst. Welcome back to another video from the Marketing Doctor. Today we're talking about using ScoreApp properly in your funnels and the mistakes that people make with ScoreApp. What we're going to learn is how we can fix those small mistakes and how we can start integrating ScoreApp properly in our funnels so that we can get the right people through to the bottom of our funnel and more of the right people. So if you have not used ScoreApp before, it is basically a online self-assessment slash quiz tool developed by Daniel Priestley, I believe. What it does is it gives people a series of questions that they can run through. You decide what the questions are. You can see that we use it quite a lot across multiple different clients. So the purpose of a ScoreApp is that you can filter people through. What people use it for is as a lead magnet and as a way of, let's say, lead nurturing. So they use it as a lead magnet for new leads and lead nurturing for their existing leads, because you can develop reports based on people's scores and people get results based on the scores that they have as well. What we prefer to use it for alongside those two things is actually just as part of the funnel itself. Important things to know about your ScoreApp. You've got a few different things. You've got a landing page, which is what people will click on. Not super important, apart from the fact that if you've already done all your hard work on messaging and knowing exactly who your audience are, this is just another place for you to call your audience out. People often have multiple different sections on their landing pages. I don't think that's important. Pardon me. With our ScoreApps, we often have a start rate. So when people actually click on the ScoreApp page, to how many people started, of over 80%. And then the number of people who started compared to those who finish it, again, usually consistently over 80 or even 90%. So we haven't found that it's important to have loads of information on your initial page. You just need to call out your people, tell them exactly what you want them to do. In this case, you want them to start the application. Important part on this is that you will get the opportunity to ask them for their phone number here, but it won't automatically be there. It's often just name and email. Always get people's phone numbers and obviously link your privacy policy and tell them what it'll be used for, but super important to get people's phone numbers for later in the funnel. The next component of your ScoreApp that's important is your questions. So what do people actually do? What they do in order to get the assessment. The only thing that people go wrong with here is they have their first one or two questions be free text boxes. That massively increases the friction for someone actually completing the ScoreApp. What you want to do is have a lot of questions in a row that people can easily answer without really turning their brain on. And then you can, if you need to get more information from them for your funnel, add free text boxes, but not always super important. You can see on the right side of the screen here that you can score people based on their answers, and that's the part that we're going to go on to next. So if you go to settings and you go to score tiers, this is where ScoreApp becomes really, really useful, especially if you're using it as a really concrete part of your funnel. What we want to do is have different funnels based on the answers that people give, and so we need to set up different tiers. The only annoying thing about ScoreApp is that you're always tiered from 0 to 100. So if I have two audiences, and an audience is basically I want to get these people on a call, and the other audience is I don't want to get them on a call, you need to set up your score tiers in a way where only people who score over a certain amount get access to see a call, and those who aren't able to do so. How you do that is on your questions. So whenever you're brainstorming the questions to begin with, you need to add scoring. So you can see that these different ScoreApps have these different questions have different scores that are weighted differently. And what you basically need to work out at the very beginning is how are we going to score people as being good fits or bad fits based on their answers to this assessment. Once you've worked that out, work out what the maximum score that they can get is. In ScoreApp's case, it's always 100. And so what score do they need to get above in order to qualify for a call, and what score below? You can see here that you can set up PDF reports, not super important for what we're talking about today. Obviously useful, especially if you're using it as a lead magnet, but in this case when we're using it as a funnel, it's not that important. So I'm going to show you what the results page can look like. On the results page, again, we're either disqualifying people or we're not disqualifying people. So in this case, based on their score, if their score is not ready, which I decided in the score tier, they can't go on to book a call. You'll be able to see here that it looks like they can, but actually it's invisible, so they can't see it. Whereas if I edit and I want to look at the content where they can book a call based on their answers, let's go to high intent, for example. No information apart from book a call. I just want to move them to the next step. So book your call to continue. And what we do is we embed the Calendly link in the ScoreApp page. What we used to do was have a link that went to Calendly, and we saw the difference between people being able to book in automatically on the page being sent to a different page is crazy. Almost a 50% difference between having people click on a link to go to a new page versus just having it natively integrated on the platform, which is why it's super useful to have ScoreApp be part of your funnel. I think I've covered everything I want to cover. You basically need to get clear on your the questions that you want to ask and how much you want to weight them, what your outcomes are, whether you want people to be able to book a call, to see your product, whatever that is. If you want them to book a call, make it super easy by integrating Calendly on the thank you page rather than making them go off the page. And on your initial landing page, just call out the people that you want to call out. Don't add too many sections that confuse them.